Hi, it's Eric Lofholm, part 3 of the Eric Lofholm story. This is a video for people that you're either a client of mine and you just want to hear more about me and my background, or you're considering becoming a client, you're interested in my background. I said this on videos 1 and 2. I don't think my story is all that particularly interesting, although I've been very interested in my mentors' backstories and getting to know them. So at the beginning here now of part 3, I just moved into our condo. It's January of 1999. I'm 28 years old. We don't have any children yet, and my wife and I we just moved back to San Diego. We're living in Scripps Ranch in a little 2-bedroom condo, and I'm launching Eric Lofholm International out of a spare bedroom in my condo. So just to kind of paint a picture, my previous year with Tony Robbins, I made $93,000. My car was covered because they gave us a brand new rental car. My cell phone was paid for. My housing was paid for. I had medical benefits. So with all those benefits, I'm probably making the equivalent of $150,000 a year, and now I go down to zero. Nobody's heard of me, and my initial plan is to sell my own seminar called the No Excuses Sales Seminar, and the seminar tickets they're $50 each. That's my only product, and I have this dream and this vision to become the Zig Ziglar of my generation. I do not have a good plan. I have no database, and I'm basically out of money. I have a small amount of money in the bank, like $5,000, and I have to produce results. This is pre-internet. I mean, the internet exists, but nothing was going on with the internet at that point. There's no social media. We're not, all the prospecting pretty much was done. Either you called somebody or you did a walk-in. And I was calling out of the yellow pages. I was calling off of help wanted ads. And my strategy was to call companies and come out and be a guest speaker and then sell my $50 seminar tickets. So I remember going and I booked my first appointment. I'm all excited and I give the speech and nobody buys. And then I give my second speech and nobody buys. I give my third speech and nobody buys. Fourth speech, fifth speech, nobody buys. Doubt is creeping in. Is anybody going to buy? Am I going to have to go get a job? What am I going to do? I give my sixth talk and I did $1,800 in sales. And I remember coming home to the condo and sitting down at the kitchen table, and I pulled all these orders out of my sales bag, and my wife, Jairus, was at the table there. And she looked at me, and she said, "You needed that." And she was right. I did need that. And that put some wind in my sails. It put a bounce in my step. That very first seminar I ever taught, I think 70 people attended. And for the rest of that year, I taught the No Excuses Sales Seminar. And it was just me. I ran the credit cards. I booked the appointments. I did the customer service. I booked the venue. I taught the seminar. It was just me. I didn't have an assistant. I did all of it. And I remember I used to give physical tickets when they bought them. And I would go and print them at Kinko's on cardstock. And then I would get scissors and I would cut them. And so some of the tickets were skinnier than others. And it was just, I just went out there and I built it from scratch. In the beginning, I didn't keep leads in a database. I didn't understand a database. I didn't understand having an email list. All I knew was go give a speech, sell tickets, revenue came in, and that's all I did. And so my first real breakthrough after that first year was going from I was teaching a 3-hour seminar to a 1-day seminar, and I bumped the price to $139. So now my revenue went up because my prices went up. Then the next thing that happened was I started selling tickets, or I started doing coaching, one-on-one coaching for $200 an hour. So you can come to the seminar, you buy a seminar ticket, and then you can coach with me one-on-one. My first staffing breakthrough happened when I decided to add on an assistant. And the first 2 assistants I hired, they didn't work out. The third one, though, I hit a home run. It was a woman named Lisa Downing. And I paid her about $1,000 a month to work 20 hours a week for me. And it was, I didn't really have the $1,000 to pay her. That was a big stress to add this $1,000 to my payroll. So I hired Lisa, and she started doing all my admin. So now it was me plus Lisa. And then my next thing I did was I think of my business as a triangle. So I'm at the tip of the triangle, and then there's admin support, and then there's sales support. So I had my admin support, which was Lisa, and eventually I brought her on full time. And then now I had my sales support. I hired an appointment setter. And so now I had somebody booking me appointments, and I was out running the appointments, and then Lisa was doing all the admin, and then the business started to grow. And then I had a woman named Robin Rose come to me and said, Eric, I would like to go be one of your speakers. And at that point, I'd been doing all the promotion myself, all the speaking myself. So Robin started going into companies and promoting my seminars, and she started selling the seminar tickets. I never recruited her. She came to me and said, I want to do this. And I said, great. And then from there, I started building a small team. And I had a couple of other trainers, and we added a couple more appointment setters. At this point, I'm working all from home. And then I went and got an office with a gentleman named Robert Imbriali on Waring Road in San Diego. And my share of the rent was about $500 a month. And again, that was way out of my comfort zone to add this extra $500 in expenses. And before you know it, I had filled up that office with appointment setters and people doing telemarketing. Added a $1,000 seminar. And I was at a point in 2002 where I wanted to really make a splash in the marketplace. I'd been in business about 4 years. I'm 32 years old. And I thought, all right, I can go one of two ways. I can add more products to my product line. Like I could sell a year-long coaching package, for example. Or I can increase the attendance at my one-day seminars. Looking back, the correct business strategy would have been adding more products to the product line. Because I already had new clients coming in from the seminars. We had already covered the cost of acquiring those leads. Like the marketing costs were all covered now. I'm making money. And if we just added, say, a $5,000 year-long coaching package, we would have doubled or tripled the profitability of the company. But I didn't do that. I decided to do bigger one-day seminars. My biggest one-day seminar I'd ever done was about 224 people. I'm like, I want to do a 1,000-person seminar. I want to make a big splash in the marketplace. In my mind, that was the way to go. So I thought, how am I going to get 1,000 people to come to my seminar? I thought, I'm going to do it with Jim Rohn. Eric and Jim Rohn, one-day seminar. I could get 1,000 people for that event. So I started putting feelers out there. I wanted Jim Rohn to come speak. And a guy came back to me named Ken Foster. He goes, I can't get you Jim Rohn, but how about Mark Victor Hansen? I said, all right. Mark Victor Hansen, you know him from Chicken Soup for the Soul. Ken knew Mark, and he reached out to Mark and said, hey, Eric Lofholm's going to be doing a 1,000-person seminar. Do you want in on it? And Mark said, sure. Well, at the time, Mark was getting ready to launch his book, 1 Minute Millionaire with Robert Allen, from Nothing Down fame, if you're familiar with Robert Allen. So Ken comes back to me and he says, okay, I got you Mark Victor Hansen, but he comes with Robert Allen. They just are finishing up 1 Minute Millionaire. They want to launch the book at your event. I said, great. So now I got Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Allen, and Eric Lofholm. Then I reach out to my mentor, Dr. Moyne. Dr. Moyne, you want to come speak at my 1,000-person seminar? He says, yes. Then I reach out to Ben Gay, who wrote The Closers Part 2, another famous sales trainer. Ben, you want to speak at my 1,000-person seminar? He says, yes. So now it's Mark Victor Hansen, Robert Allen, Dr. Moyne, Ben Gay, and myself. Got a great speaker lineup, 1,000-person seminar. Except we've got one small problem. We need 1,000 people to come to the seminar. I don't have anybody. I got everybody ready to speak, So I go to my sales team. I say, we are going to do a 1,000-person seminar. And they thought I was crazy because we'd never had more than 224 people in a room. Anyway, we pulled it off. What I'm going to tell you, it doesn't even sound believable. We put 1,257 people in that room. The largest seminar to this day I've ever done in my career. I mean, I look back on that day, it was an incredible event. And I was flying high. I was on track for my first $1 million a year. We were rolling. And I felt like I could do no wrong. Now, there's a gentleman named John Shin, and he is out on a Think and Grow Rich tour right now. John's a very, very wealthy gentleman. And John had me come out and speak to his WFG team for that seminar. And 77 of John's people from one speech ended up registering for that event. The way we filled up that room is my team and I, we would go into companies and we would do talks promoting the seminar, and we did hundreds of these talks, and that's how we filled up the room. Well, from there I thought, we had 1,257 come, let's do it again. So then we did an 1,100-person event. No, we did a 700-person event next. And then I sent my sales team up to San Jose, and we ran the old Tony Robbins model. I paid for corporate housing. I paid for rental cars. Sent the sales team up to the Bay Area. Mark Victor Hansen and I did this event. Put 1,100 people in this room, and the second largest event I've ever done. And shortly thereafter, my staff mutinied on me. And when they were up in the Bay Area and they were all living together, they bonded. And they're like, we're putting all the people in the room. We're doing all the work. What do we need Eric for? So they started their own training company. And they recruited away my top 2 appointment setters and then my sales team. And they all left, and they literally started calling my customers. They went to my database, and they actually did a few successful seminars together, and then they ended up folding. But it left my company gutted. I went from a staff of 20 on track for my first $1 million a year doing 1,000-person seminars, age 32, down to a staff of 1. I had to shut my office down. I had to go back and work from home. And I was emotionally devastated. I was depressed. My business was on life support. And I didn't know what hit me. I felt that I had been betrayed by my team. And the bill collectors were calling. My wife was upset with me because of our financial situation. I'm depressed. I'm emotionally paralyzed. And by the grace of God, somehow, some way, I picked myself up and I went out there and I turned it around. And when I look back on that experience, it was nothing short of a miracle, because I was metaphorically left for dead on the side of the road. And I was not mentally in any space to go out and be teaching people how to become more successful. My life was in shambles. My marriage was in shambles. My finances were in shambles. And what happened was I woke up one morning and the thought popped into my head, and the thought was focus on revenue producing activities. And somehow that thought cleared my mind and the depression went away, and I began to focus on revenue producing activities. And I locked in on the things that would generate revenue, which is generate leads, set appointments, and run appointments. And money started coming in. At that moment when that happened, I was $150,000 in debt. It took me 18 months and I turned it all around. I paid off all the debt. I rebuilt my company stronger than ever. I changed my business model. And I got so much emotional strength from that adversity. And it was the most challenging experience of my entire life. Yet I learned so much from that experience. It gave me a mental toughness that I still have to this day. So one of the lessons in that story is to focus on revenue producing activities. And as the great Les Brown says, if you can look up, you can get up. And even though I had been knocked down, I could look up, and I did get up. And I did turn things around. So that's going to conclude part 3. I look forward to connecting with you on part 4.